Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you to the December meeting of the Cabinet. First item on the agenda is the minutes. Does everyone agree with the minutes of the 3rd of October? Thank you. Apologies. Are there any apologies for non-attendance? Mr. Williams has now arrived into the meeting. There's no other apologies of attendance. Chief Executive, thank you. Declarations of interest. On this point, I have to register a declaration of interest on the Rural England Prosperity Fund, where I have supported one of the applications, and I will not vote on that particular point. Are there any other declarations of interest? Victoria?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I have similar interests. Although I support the proposal in principle, I must declare an interest in respect of the Spring Hill Cricket Club application, so I'll follow suit.
All right, thank you. There's no other declarations of interest. Right, going on to item number 4 then. Report of the Corporate Director, the Chief Operating Officer and Corporate Policy Manager, Jackie Smith. Over to you, Jackie.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, members. I would like to present to members the refreshed customer feedback policy. This will be complemented by an online system which will improve the management and support for us to provide regular reporting and data analysis, which will help to inform service changes. I would want to stress, though, although an online form is being introduced, the traditional methods will remain in place, such as a telephone or in person. However, these will be recorded onto the system to give us that overall picture. One of the changes that has been incorporated into the policy is that we did have an allowance for up to 12 months after the initial complaint for a report to be made. However, we have reduced that now to 3 months, which is consistent with practice in other local authorities. However, again, I would stress to members, in exceptional circumstances, if somebody can demonstrate why it wasn't reasonable to submit within that 3-month window, there will be a judgment about whether we, in fact, in that instance, can investigate. As part of the transformation programme, the feedback policy will be supported by a customer relationship management system, which is actually going to be used by a number of our services, which hopefully means that the data will be collected in one point, which makes analysis of that much easier and will be used across those services. I would draw to members' attention the Local Government and Social Care Ombudsman is actually currently consulting on a new complaint handling code, which will become the single gold standard for the local government sector. That is not likely, the results of that consultation is not likely to be towards at least the end of this year or beginning of next year. However, I will assure members that should there be a need, the policy will be updated to reflect that code. Also would bring to members' attention a working protocol for vexatious complaints is also being produced and will be used by officers as part of the internal processes and guidance that will be issued to staff and as part of their training. Within the pack today, the refresh policy is in Cabinet Papers on page 9, and the recommendation at 7.1 is for Cabinet to approve the customer feedback policy. Happy to take any questions, Chairman.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Are there any questions on this? Are you all agreed with the recommendations? You all approve the recommendations? Thank you. We now move on to item number 5, the allocation of the Rural England Prosperity Fund, and I call on Annette Roberts to present this, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, this report seeks formal approval from Cabinet to allocate Rural England Prosperity funding. Members will recall the funding we received from central government as part of the government's Levelling Up programme. It sits alongside the main UK Shared Prosperity funds and acts as a top-up, recognising the challenges of rural areas such as South Staffordshire. So this rural funding is part of this. The funds can provide capital funding for support and new existing rural businesses, supporting new and improved community infrastructure. So we opened up the expressions of interest in July 2023 for this fund. We received a number of expressions of interest, and where appropriate, these expressions of interests, where appropriate, were invited to bid for the funding with a full application. These bids were then assessed by a panel consisting of both internal and external colleagues. The 3 bids that this report relates to were considered appropriate and recommended to be funded by the panel. So this afternoon, we've got 1 community bid to be recommended and 2 business bids. The first one, the community bid, is Spring Hill Cricket Club, which seeks 9,360,000 for PV solar panels. 2 business bids, the first one in OCL, based in Swindon, which is for a woodworking unit, which also creates 2 extra jobs. That's for 39,000, and that's to be awarded 39,000 subject to planning. And then the final, again a business bid, is Hay House Education Limited, based in Dunstan. And this is for raised beds and polytunnels, which will be creating 1 jobs. That's for 13,200. Subject to Cabinet accepting these bids, applicants will be expected to sign a formal funding agreement. The recommendation, Chairman, is set out in paragraph 811 in the report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mrs Roberts. Are there any questions on that? Now, as there's 2 of us declared an interest, I will ask the recommendations on the Cabinet approve the allocation of REPF to the 3 organisations set out in 3.11 and Appendix A, subject to any additional requirements and also set out in the appendix. I will not vote on the part where I have supported it, and Victoria will not vote on the part where she supported it. So is everyone else in agreement? Right, that's it. That's everyone in agreement. Right, thank you very much, everyone. That concludes. I just must note, I don't think I did at the start, that this meeting will be recorded. Nobody's got any objections. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.